And here is your host, filmmaker, Meosha Bean.
Hey everybody, welcome to Creators today. Today we have a special guest.
I'm Alexandria Perez.
Welcome to the show, hon. I'm so happy that you could do this.
Oh, I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for sharing your platform with me.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. So tell me a little bit. I know that you're super talented. You're a writer. You make movies. You're amazing at what you're doing. So tell me from the beginning, your childhood. Talk about your childhood. What was that like growing up?
I grew up in Miami, Florida. Both of my parents are Cuban, so I was kind of raised by immigrants that came to this country in the early 1960s.
Nice.
And Miami feels like it's like the epicenter, the melting pot of the United States. And so rich with culture. I was raised in a very Cuban household. So I grew up speaking Spanish. And so that's very much kind of interwoven with everything I do, is where my parents come from and where I come from, which is Florida. I went to Catholic elementary school, and then I went to film school for college.
Wow.
The University of Miami. Yeah.
That's incredible. How did you like Catholic school?
I hated it, actually. It was a very bizarre time for me, but I think it was also essential for me as a creator, just because there's so many weird experiences that come with going to Catholic school, which includes confronting your own faith a little bit too.
So you're Cuban. All right. Have you gone back to see,
I've never been. I want to go one day, but I've never been.
Same, like my dad's family, they're Cuban. So I haven't been there yet, but I want to go really bad. And
okay, we have to go together.
Okay, it's settled. I love it. Let's do it. When things open back up.
We'll have to go and film something. Oh, yes, when things open back up.
Yeah, there
That's
was
definitely the dream. I want to film something there in Cuba.
Oh, right. It's the cars are it's just so it's amazing.
Well, when the embargo was placed, so after the Cold War, we just stopped. They stopped sending vehicles, and everything new stopped being imported into Cuba, and so it looks like it's trapped in time.
Yeah,
but it's really just, it's kind of to me, it represents shackles, that timelessness. Because there's been no sense of progression, from the outside that's been allowed to penetrate it.
Yeah, which is sad, unfortunately.
It is. And I want to go back there. I want to go there one day, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a document. I remember watching this documentary about it, and I was just like, oh man, the 1%ers, the people that are there, kind of tucked away, that are super wealthy and living great lives and have nice cars. And then most people in the town are just not exposed to that. But it's just I find that fascinating, how that exists there. And
it's all there's a lot of people living in poverty, and there's a lot that they don't talk about because it's not publicized because of the strict government. So a lot doesn't Actually get out about what it's about the climate of living there.
Definitely.
My mom came to this country on Operation Peter Pan.
Wow.
Which was an exodus program that was from 1960 to 62 that brought 14,000 children to this country.
Wow.
And they were scattered across the United States, and they all lived in different foster homes. And actually, I wrote a pilot about this and my mom's story. And so I know that's a later question.
No, that's amazing.
It's just, there's so many stories that I find a lot of people don't really know about. I've asked people, have you heard of Operation Peter Pan? And unless you're from Miami, or unless you have a family member that was directly involved in the program, it's not something that a lot of people are familiar with. And so I think that representation definitely matters.
That needs to be out there for sure. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Wow. You wrote a pilot. That's incredible. That's incredible. I can't wait to see it.
Thank you. I can't wait to share it with you.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm curious, you said you went to Catholic school and growing up in Florida. I mean, I'm from Florida, so I feel like I have this connection with you. It's just I just know you. I feel her. Yeah. So growing up, that, how did you find yourself? What were some of your interests? Were you that kid reading books? Or were you just creating things? Were you in your own world? What did that look like?
both like a lot of what I did was with my family, as like we did a lot of creative stuff together, so they showed me a lot of movies.
That's
And
cool.
my mom was a big reader, and so I would read a lot of books alongside her. Sometimes I would read out loud to her.
Oh, wow.
And like I became so interested in stories, but I couldn't wrap my head around writing them. Like I remember I wrote a summary. I was in 7th grade, and I told this kid, I was like, I wish someone would write this book. And I read the summary I had written, and he was like, well, why don't you do it? And that was really how it began.
Wow.
I went home and I immediately started writing, and I never really stopped doing that. It was just like every single one of my hobbies has always revolved around writing, which is whether it be poetry or songwriting or online writing communities. I've always found myself like gravitating towards writing as like my main interest, really.
Who were some of the ones that like writers that you kind of like were drawn to? Any like authors that you were like, okay, this is, yeah.
As a kid,
or maybe when you got a little older, when you were kept going.
Well, like the first one was actually R.L. Stein, who was like he wrote the Goosebumps books.
Okay, yeah.
So that was my foray into horror, and that was like one of my favorite things that I could read. There were so many different kinds of specialized scary books for all kinds of interests, and
yeah.
I fell in love with those books, and I fell in love with being scared, really.
I just can't imagine you falling in love with scary, because you're just so sweet. It's like, oh my God.
I know, and then you see what I write, and I'm just into massacres and slashers, just ghost stories. Because
I love it.
I mean, you think of it like, I consider horror to be one of the best ways we can confront fear.
Yeah, definitely.
Like in our lives, like how can we like, instead of just telling a character that's like if you're writing a character that's trapped somewhere, what does that represent, and where is that coming from, and what does it mean? Like, why are you choosing to tell that story?
Yeah.
And so a lot of my motives for writing those kinds of stories stem from my own experiences, or wanting to see those kinds of stories being told, whether it's like about imprisonment or confinement, depression, mental illness. Like you can immerse yourself in those when you write horror.
I bet. I love the horror genre as well. I think for me, it was definitely Alfred Hitchcock was definitely what kind of inspired me to get into it. I mean, it's like, because I feel like life, like you said, the life, I mean, even the situation that we're in right now as a whole is a horror. Like everything, there's so many things that it doesn't have to always be like a slasher, but I totally love slashers. I love gore. But sometimes I think like just life itself is just, some of the things that we're dealing with is just really scary. Like you can, come up with so many things. Like
so many horror films are just about the fear of the unknown, the fear about what's not really tangible. And like one of my favorite horror films, The Babadook, that's about grief.
Love that one.
Yeah. Or The Exorcist, that's about faith and grappling with what happens when you're kind of like at the end of a dark road of the devil,
I love that. Oh man. So you like horror, you gravitated towards that, and that is being scary. As you gotten older, like what was your plan, where you're like, okay, do you already have like a kind of a clear, I want to do this, I want to go to this school, I want to
Oh no, I didn't have anything figured out.
I love that.
I knew I wanted to tell stories. I didn't know if that was going to be my main thing. And I feel like as you get older, you realize you're not just doing one main thing.
Right.
I mean, but the goal always was to tell stories, even if I wasn't sure I wanted to be a filmmaker till I was like a little bit older. I think like right as I started college is when I was like, okay, I wanna do this.
What made you realize that? What kind of?
I changed majors. I declared a major in education, and then I was like, that first semester I went to like the same day I went to my 2 education classes. That first day I immediately walked to my advisor's office and I changed my major to film.
That's amazing.
I was like, I can't live in this lie of pretending to be passionate about something that I'm not passionate about. And so if if you're going to dedicate yourself to something, just dive head first into it. That's what I did.
Absolutely. I love that because you're right. You can't fake something for so long. I totally couldn't do something that my heart isn't in, because it's not going to last. So you're right. Was it like scary? Were you scared?
It was less scary. It was my family scared for me. And I guess that kind of feeds into the fear of like that. It's societal norms that feed fear. We could do anything and not be afraid. It's other people that tell us to be afraid of something.
That's true.
So I was like my parents are very, very supportive of me, obviously.
Love that. Thank God. That's a good thing.
But initially it was more fear of, how are you going to find your footing in this?
Yeah.
And it's still something that it's still something I'm finding my footing in, but I'm working with more people that are like interested in what I'm interested in, and like the sites are aligning, and the more time you spend, the more time you dedicate to it, the more you realize I am doing the right thing, even if it wasn't like evident at the beginning. It is now.
Definitely. You're right. You said something about, you're around the right people. And I do you believe that, do you believe that whatever you surround yourself with, or whatever you put into your bubble, right, affects everything else that you're trying to do?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like that's super important, to be with like-minded people, like that understand, like, oh, okay, I know what you're going through. I was there, or whatever. I feel like it's, for me, that's the same how I feel like when I left home. I think the biggest thing for me was like, okay, how do I figure this out? And you don't know, but I do love the unknown of like what's going to happen down the road. But it's that really weird. I don't know.
Even if anything that is considered certain, because I feel like what it comes down to, especially when we're starting out, is this isn't considered a serious industry. I guess when you're younger, it's like, why don't you major in being an engineer or a doctor, something that comes with like a steady paycheck, but even that comes with like a level of uncertainty. You don't know what your path is gonna lead you to. Even if you do set it in motion, it doesn't mean that you can't change it after you, like, I could be 40 years into this and be like, I want to be an engineer now. And that would be just as fine.
That's it. Do you feel like the writing industry is, or the industry as a whole is giving more women in Hollywood and just, a voice, like writers? And is that in the writer's room? Does it look different now to you?
It does and it doesn't. And what it is we are the ones giving opportunities. And I think that's what you amplify each other's voices. And I think that's a lot of it has to do with lifting each other up. And so it's less that I don't want to give Hollywood as a base the credit. It's the people in Hollywood. It's the women in Hollywood. It's the people who want to advocate for that kind of change,
right, that
you are seeing that unfurl. Because in a lot of places, I still think there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Because you're like, Sundance revealed their lineup and it's 50-50. That's so incredible to me. Wow. Like, it's actually like 50-50 is, and that is an accomplishment. And to me, it is also not an accomplishment that it has to be considered an accomplishment. We should be here already. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly. That was tough. Yeah, that hit me. I totally agree. Holy crap, you're right. Yeah. Wow.
I do feel like we have a lot of work that needs to be done, because we are applauding these baby steps, but I think, okay, with every baby step, there should be another leap that comes with it.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I am seeing those opportunities open up, and they're opening up in the forms of mentorships, fellowships, and companies. All those companies are being run by women too.
I love
and
that.
So I think a lot of it is we're creating opportunities for each other, and
you're
creating a space for one another to operate in.
I love that. That well said. I love how you said that. It's not just Hollywood's responsibility, right? They're the machine, but also we're the ones that are getting the job. So as a fellow, filmmaker or women in film, right? We're gonna, okay, now I have the responsibility to hire a woman, and it just kind of continues that way, because you're right. A lot of us sometimes we get in positions where we kind of forget to diversify or change the narrative of what is, what they give us. Like, so you're right, it is our responsibility, and not so much to the industry. Yeah.
It's what you're doing right now. You're giving me a platform. You're sharing your platform, and it's like that's exactly how it works. We help each other, we hold each other, we push each other through it.
Yeah.
And I think that that is how the progress is made, is that you bring people with you. You don't let anyone get left behind.
Yes, love that. Do you feel as a creative, as a creator, writer, do you feel like it's your job to, how they say, well, dude, let's diverse characters and put people that we normally don't see in a certain light in these positions. So do you feel like as a writer, do you have those things in mind when you're writing a story?
That's my job. That is part of my job, without a doubt. It's like the same way growing up, I wanted to see Cuban girls in the lead role. Like, I want to see non-binary. I want to see Black people. I want to see lesbian, demisexual. I want to see everyone that require. Like, when I write, I'm like, a lot of times I'm thinking not of like, I don't think of race or binary in terms of binary. I think in terms of like who can fit this role. But I cast diverse. Like it's open casting for me. Even if it's great, even if the character is like initially written as female or male, I have I'm completely impartial.
Oh, that's great.
But in general, like, you have to push for that representation big time in your writing. You have to be like, no, because a lot of it, like, it can come in the writing, but it also comes with like producing it. And it's like, I know you get it, like, because once you write, you can write something and hand it to someone, but what they do with it depends on how much control you have over it. But sometimes they won't do with it what you necessarily want to do with it.
Oh man.
So with the things I have control over, I want to diversify. I love that. I want to tell diverse stories. I want little Cuban girls to see themselves on the screen. I want kids that don't see themselves to see themselves on the screen, and all kinds of stories.
Yeah.
And all kinds of stories about like different things. That's not just about one thing. I don't want it to just be about a historical movement. It has to be. I want to see the Black superheroes and the Cuban math teachers. Just
heck yeah.
Every kind of role, really.
You're right, because I think that's what we kind of want to. Everyone wants to be able to see themselves in some capacity, something that's, like, it's like what what's that director Jordan Peele said, and he was at some film festival, and the guy gets up and he says, "Hey, why don't you put?" It was a white guy. And he says, "Why don't you put a white guy as your lead?" And he says, "Well, I mean, no offense, that's been done many times, and I'm just trying to show something else." He's like, "I just want to," and he's like, "It's not about like that I don't like someone or another person." He's like, "I'm just trying to change the narrative as a whole, because we don't get to see these things." And it made sense. It's like, oh, okay, he has the power. You're right. I was talking to someone, sadly, someone said to me, who's a writer, I said, "Hey, how about we have this guy as the serial killer to be, this?" And he was like, "Oh, that never happens." I'm like, "Well, why not change it? That's what we create.
Why not change it?" Exactly.
Yeah,
that's it. There doesn't have to be a mold,
Right.
It's like a lot of people, like, I don't think that there needs to be a mold. I find the mold limiting. I think you should write the story that you want to write, tell it how you want to tell it. And if there's change, like, Jordan Peele has the platform, and he should be showing Black men in the lead. I want all Black men in his films, because it's so powerful to see. And like, I'm glad that he has the platform to show those stories. It's that representation matters. And like, when he got nominated for an Oscar as a horror writer, best script, and like, not only that, Get Out got nominated for all those Oscars.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like, or when Moonlight won Best Picture over La La Land, like, these stories want to be seen. These stories, like Parasite at the Oscars, like,
God, right? Amazing.
It's just, we don't like. I find there's a lot of independent cinema that just doesn't get recognized by a lot of
mainstream.
A lot of mainstream media, and like, the people who are at the top of the pyramid or at the top of the food chain, a lot of them are white male filmmakers, and they have been doing this for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I feel like they've been in the business long enough. They can also start diversifying.
Yeah, I mean, they have the power.
If you have the power and you have the platform, there is so much accessibility. There are so many actors that are hungry.
Yeah.
And I'm hungry for new blood too. I want to see new actors. I want to see, I love seeing new people at the forefront. Like when they Daniel Kaluuya, I knew he wasn't brand new when he made Get Out, but he is so fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought he was such a breakout star.
Yeah, he really was.
I forget her name, but the lead actress from Roma, which was the Netflix.
Incredible
she film. Was holy crap. So amazing.
Holy crap. So good. You're right. It is our responsibility. And I think as long as we have those kind of mindsets, and I'm not saying, look, and I love all men. I love my Caucasian guys. I love them so much. I love them. It's just that I think what we're trying to do is at, like you said, at the top of that pyramid is just like, okay, at least consider all these other people that are here who want to act. Like there's so many actors that are out of work and they're not being called. Unfortunately, like that was Lupita Nyong'o's, and I'm using her.
She's remarkable.
Like Jordan Peele got in Us. That was her first starring role, and I'm just like, what? Like she's been in movies forever. How is this her first one? So it just kind of blew my mind. Of like, there's so many actors that we see that are not getting that. I guess that push. So,
I find it to be a very weak argument when people say that they want to cast the best like they don't want to cast based on skin color. They want to cast the best person for the role. Because what about the effort for representation? You know, just like I feel like where you need to make that effort, because if everyone comes at it thinking I can cast whoever I want, then no one is going to make that effort. It's That's true. It shouldn't feel like white is the default. I remember growing up thinking like of white as the default a lot as a child. Like, you know, like with like white blonde Barbies or like dolls, anything was just like,
yep.
And there's nothing wrong with white people. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that,
right.
We want to see some representation and some diversification for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Just the effort. If you have the platform, put forth the effort.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be everybody, but just someone at least.
Someone.
One or two would be great.
What was it? Deep Blue Sea. You've seen
yes.
Did you know apparently LL Cool J is the first Black character to survive the horror film? That was in the 90s. You know how pathetic that is? That's sad.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. He was. He actually was. Still wanted to, like, it's like it broke the mold. It's like, oh, he didn't die? What?
I love that movie, mind you, and he is my favorite character in that movie.
Yes, such a good one. This actually is so funny because this brings me to what's happening right now, you know, with the climate that, you know, we're all in right now, and this uncertainty that's around it, and the thing that happened right now, that happened in the Capitol, that recently happened. How do you feel? How did you feel about that?
It's terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. The fact that something like this happened, there's been a lot of footage that I've seen from the Capitol, obviously. A lot of terrible footage. I don't support what happened whatsoever. Yeah. I also recognize that it would have been a massacre if there were people of color there. And it's that realization that a lot of people are coming to, that you see the disparity, you see... All right. I can't imagine how, like, frustrating, horrible that feels, because what that looked like to me was just the entitlement. Just there were people that were killed, and like that was absolutely horrible. I feel so horrible for the people that died.
Yeah,
obviously, so I wish that no one would have died.
Right,
but this is the risk that a lot of people of color have been facing for years, and like you saw on display a group of animals break into the Capitol and attempt a coup. And there was honestly a lot less casualties than I would have imagined. Like, if it's just, it's heartbreaking. Everything that's going on is really, really devastating and awful.
How do you stay balanced during this time? What do you do? What keeps you?
I do self-care practices, actually.
That's
So I'll do like my little spa days, facials, painting my nails, bathtubs. I FaceTime with my family a lot. I call them like every other day just because they're far away and I haven't seen them in a long time.
Yeah.
And I try to write, not for work, but for myself,
That's
just
good.
like as an outlet. And obviously so many movies. So many movies.
Man, I've watched so many films in this past few days. It's like incredibly. I'm like, whoa, it's so much content. I got to catch up. There's so much. It's like
there's so much. What's your favorite thing that you've watched this week?
Oh, well, I watched Call. Call was on Netflix.
Oh, how was it?
Really good. Surprisingly, really good. I was like, holy crap. Very well done story. And The Servant season 2, M. Night, it's out now.
I haven't even seen season 1. I'll have to check that one out.
God, it's so good. It's a slow burn kind of type of film, and it's very I don't want to give it away, but yeah, check it out.
I'll check it out.
M. Night, he's wonderful. He did a good job. I really
watched all of The Wilds in 2 days.
Yes.
So incredible.
Great show.
So good. Yeah.
Where did they film that? Is that in Australia or Canada?
I feel like I think you're on the right track. I think it was Australia, maybe New Zealand.
New Zealand, yeah.
I really don't know, actually. I haven't looked into it, but it's really gorgeous. Wouldn't want to be there, but it's beautiful.
I know, right? It's like, no, not for me. So, what advice would you give to someone that wants to do what you're doing, or even just attempt to try the industry to get involved into, like, I want to do film? Like, what advice would you give?
Build your tribe. Honestly, persistence, and do it. You have to just do it. You have to be relentless, and you have to accept that you will face rejection just as much as you may face acceptance. But there's no way of knowing if you're going to make it unless you do it.
It's true.
So I think there's a lot of vulnerability and fear that comes with creativity, that it's very easy to discourage yourself right before you even jump out the gate. And I think you have to fight past that feeling over and over when you're creating. And so it's an endless cycle. Just continue battling it, battling the feeling that tells you that you might not be good enough, and just start.
That's it.
And just and even if you don't know what you're doing or who to reach out to, keep going. You will find your people. I'm still finding my people. I feel like there's so many people in this world they're everywhere. And especially with social media, there's so many online communities. You can find people with your interests anywhere.
Yeah. And
you can build a collective of, like, you can make a movie of 4 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
3 people if you're really good.
Definitely, that's true. You could. Yeah, no, you're right. Absolutely, I love that. Find that tribe, that community. It'll come, yeah. Because I knew 0 people when I moved to LA, zilch. So yeah, it's I look back, I'm like, I've only been there now for like 6 years, and it's like I'm doing pretty good.
You are.
I can beat myself up over. I'm like, I need to do better. Oh my God. And my mom's like, are you crazy? You're doing good. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Okay.
That feeling's never going to go away. You're never going to stop beating yourself up. And I feel like that's applicable. I never stop beating myself up. We're worst critic, our worst enemies, but you have to just do it. And when you do it, you bring people with you. You bring the good people with you.
Definitely.
And you tell stories that are important to you, and you tell stories that aren't told enough. Definitely. I think once and every story is already a new story being told. Mm-hmm. Because any story from you hasn't been told before.
Yeah, that's so true. Very true. That's yeah. Okay, fun question. We'll lighten up the mood a little bit since we kind of went a little dark. So, if there was a biopic based on your life, who would play you?
Oh gosh. Who would make a biopic about me?
Hey, that's a fun one.
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. It'd have to be, I would want it to be a Cuban actress.
Ooh.
And I would want it to be directed by a woman. Can I choose that? Like,
Yes, you can choose that.
Can
That's
you
a good
direct
answer.
it?
Hey, I'd love to. I'd be honored.
We'll trade. I do you do me.
Yes. You guys heard it here first. That's happening.
That's the next collaboration.
That's it. Which brings my next question. Are you working on anything that you want to share or kind of tease us with a little bit? Yeah.
Just been developing a project with some really cool filmmakers.
Ooh, I wonder what it is. I'm so curious. That's awesome.
Developing things of my own. Right now, everything's still I feel like everything's still in the development stage. This year really kind of took a big dent to anything I had planned. So I've just gone back into the reevaluating stage for a lot of different things.
Okay, yeah. What were you like, if everything was open, you were gonna shoot something, direct something this year?
I was gonna try to work on a feature, but now I'm just slowing my roll on it a little.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
But that'll be the next thing. We'll do that next. That'll be next.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, I can't wait to see your feature when things kind of open back up soon.
It's soon. Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Has to.
I remain hopeful, because you have to be hopeful when confronted with so many bleak circumstances.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So true. Indeed. All right. Yeah. Also, where can people find you on social media so they can follow you and kind of keep up with you and all that you're doing?
Well, I directed a short film called The Final Girl Returns, and it has its own Facebook page if people wanted to go click like on it. And I have an Instagram, and my Instagram is Alex Unchained if people wanted to follow me.
Love that. Hey, love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was such a pleasure talking to you. And yeah.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Namaste.
And I appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you. Well, thank you so much again. And thank you guys for listening. And always to remember to live, love, laugh. Bye, guys.
Bye.